thanks for joining us. Today is Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. It's 5:31 p.m. and this is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Marquette Township Board. We will start with the pledge if you'd like to join us. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call please, Randy.
Okay, trustee Winslow's absent and excused, but she's on Zoom, but she can't participate, but she can view and comment, I think, but can't vote or anything. Trustee Kidda.
Here.
Trustee Leighton.
Here.
Trustee Everson.
Here.
Treasurer Rickower.
Here.
Clerk Rattari is here, and Supervisor Durant.
Here.
Staff present is Fire Chief Dan Shanahan and our Finance Director Kim Clark, and committee member on Zoom is Paul Marin from our library.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Oh, looks like we froze, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. Any public comment before we get ready? If anybody wants to share a few words? Nope. Sounds good too. Tonight we need approval of the consent agenda, which consists of approval of work session and regular meeting minutes of January 7th, 2026. We have bills payable in the amount of $206,585.90. We have the December 2025 Sheriff's Activity Report. I put your close-up fiscal health survey in. Apparently people are doing pretty well. They're not quite as nervous as they were, municipalities. And the December 2025 financial statements.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Make a motion that we approve the agenda as written.
Support.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, library. Paul, you're up first. If we don't freeze, can you hear me?
Hey.
Yes, you're live. Okay.
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right.
What you got?
Well, thank you so
Share.
much for letting me participate by Zoom. I missed a few meetings late in the year there, but I did go to the TAC meeting on January 14th. And the big news there was that the Superior Land Library Cooperative has discontinued a subsidy for Hoopla. And Hoopla is primarily audiobooks, which costs the library anywhere from $1.50 to $4 per use, which was doable when we got the subsidy. And there were only 800 people who used this Hoopla in 2021, but it grew up to 4,200 people in 2024. So it's going to be $2,200 a month to the library to continue with Hoopla. So they are looking at what options there may be to continue that. It's not something I use. I'm an old-fashioned book guy, but there's a lot of people who like to listen to their books, and this Hoopla is a great deal. The other thing they talked about at the TAC meeting was that, as you know, the library gets a small portion of the penal fines levied in Marquette County. And in that regard, we've always been jealous of counties that have had truck weigh stations because they get a lot of money in penal fines. But because the court budgets are tight, there's some effort across the state for the court to say we need to keep more of those penal fines for ourselves. And that is not a good thing for the libraries. The other thing they said, the Mining Journal has now been digitized from the issue 1 to 1989. So if you need to look at any old Mining Journal, it's there. And the Marquette Monthly is also digitized. I didn't know they were doing that, but they did. I then attended the Peter White Public Library Board meeting. And by the way, I'm very happy to hear that there's another TAC representative now in Marquette Township. I'm looking forward to meeting her so that we can split up going to some of these library board meetings.
Yes, I
The
did
main
give her your
speaker at the-
information, Paul. I gave her your and
Good.
Andrew's information.
I'm sorry?
I gave her your and Andrew's
Oh, good.
information. It's Grace. She said she knows you already.
Excellent. Excellent, thank you. So the main speaker, as you know, a staff member makes a lengthy presentation at each public library trustee meeting, and the person who made the presentation this time was Marty Ackett, who's in charge of programming at the library. He's got, it would take a long time for me to talk about all of this, but he's got a lot of activities lined up through the winter and spring at the library. And he also mentioned that the Great Michigan Read this year is a book called Everything I Learned in a Chinese Restaurant. And he's trying to get that author to come to Marquette for a presentation here. The other thing they talked about at the board meeting was making April an amnesty month. They said there are 3,152 items missing from the collection. They just haven't been returned, which represents about 2% of the total library collection. And it would cost $60,000 about to replace those missing items. And so what they are hoping to do and planning to do is in April have an amnesty month. Some of those people can just bring in the books, all is forgiven, go and sin no more. You are now a valid member in good standing of the library again. And they're hoping it has a good result. The other lengthy thing they talked about at the library meeting was becoming a vape recycling location. Apparently now the only vape recycling location in Marquette is Kenny's Party Store on 4th Street. There are no recycling locations for cannabis vapes. And we got a presentation at the library board meeting from Citizens for a Clean and Safe Lake Superior, and they would like to have a drop-off at the library for all this. And the Library Board of Trustees approved that, subject to an insurance policy review that says there won't be any liability if something happens with those things. And that was about it. They're going to combine the May and June meetings to June the 9th. The survey that they sent out, and maybe some of you took, is done. And the biggest issue, as it always is the biggest complaint is people want the library to be open for more hours. The library wishes it could do the on Sunday, which is talked about how they're going to use the Marquette Arts Council space that they have reacquired. And there's one small room they said they're going to use for a quiet meditation room. They have meditation now at the library on a regular basis, and that was kind of interesting to me. But that's pretty much what was discussed at January 20th, but I will welcome any questions you may have.
Anything for Paul? Dan, go ahead.
Talking about the hoopla, could they not just increase the usage charge to cover the cost?
Did you hear him?
They may implement a usage charge for the hoopla books on.
They said they might do that, yeah.
Okay. Seems like the easiest solution.
Yeah, if you want to use it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Thanks, Paul. We appreciate you zooming in.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Fire department. Chief's ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Not a whole lot to discuss, but I know it's been a couple months since I've been here. But I'll just briefly touch over our training that we were fortunate enough to get the Upco house in the Forestville Dam area. We did some ventilation, some forcible entry, those types of things. Those houses are few and far between. And then last month we had Marquette City Fire came in, and we went through MCI, mass casualty incidents, how we would handle that locally, and we also did stop the bleed with them. And then in January, like we do every other year, we did CPR, and then we also went through our drug box for some continuing education credits for the EMS people. The December obviously was a busy month. I think December 29th was 14 calls in itself. We had a total of 64 calls in the month of December. That was a very busy night. The day wasn't too bad, but that evening, starting around midnight, and then 15 calls was busy. That was the night of the storm, December 29th. Nothing, we did assist Sands with a structure fire. Actually, well, two. One was late November and then one was early December, which prompted us to have a meeting with Chocolate, Marquette City, Sands, and ourselves on mutual aid / auto aid. That's just in the discussion phase right now. Pretty much the three of us, Chocolate, Marquette City, and us, we're pretty well squared away. We would like to get Sands involved too, especially with that 425 agreement. We do have auto aid there, 480 north on 553, but just a few odds and ends we'd like to tidy up, I guess, a little bit, and ask them for water too on our 492 area, and possibly up 550. And just discussion stage right now. Meeting went well, and everybody was receptive, which sometimes can be difficult, but it was a very receptive meeting. Guys also did a vehicle fire, two vehicle fires over the last couple of months. Membership, we're at 32, we have one on leave. We've recently interviewed a couple of EMT only. And we lost one due to graduation and move, and another one, firefighter EMT, moved recently as well. Reporting systems, that's why some of these I gotta double check, because I think I put 5 mutual aids received. I think that was only 3. We're basically manually going through those right now. INFRS, which National Fire Incident Reporting System, has been around forever. They've switched, they're upgrading to a system called NARIS, which our software, third-party software, is not compatible just yet. Yeah, so it's been, I think this month though, and we're starting to be able to extract a little bit of data. Right now, it's not the best. We're still, I sort of manually went through this 4 Decembers, went through and tried to, just briefly. And the numbers are, the totals are right, except for, like I said, the mutual aid given what is correct, mutual aid received was not correct. I think that was 3 instead of 5. Something like that. Most of those were EMS, and we did, that night, we did end up going out to, we went into the city a few times the night of that storm, because other ambulances were stuck and couldn't get anywhere, and we also went out to Chocolate that night, due to, we were the only ambulance in the area that was able to move. And the only other thing that we'll be bringing to you sometime this year is, we've currently been using NFPA 1, edition 2012, and we would like to update that in 2024. And I guess what prompted it, there's not that many changes, and it's no concern to the contractors or builders. It's mostly addressing. It addresses a little bit more specifically, and lithium-ion battery storage, and for e-bikes and scooters. I guess that's one of the addressing is one that prompted it the most, which we can change too. We have the authority, with your approval, to change the addressing a little bit. We don't have to exactly identify with NFPA 1 on that. With your approval, we can change it. If we don't like that, just say NFPA says it's 4 inches. Well, if you're 100 yards off the road, we'd like it to be 6, and we can do that with your approval. And in a nutshell, that's it.
I was gonna mention that, the numbers again, because I went through my neighborhood, and a lot of numbers at the end of the driveways on
Yep.
light posts.
Yep.
You can't see them,
Right.
they're gone, So hopefully everybody listens to this.
Yeah, yep.
Puts their numbers on
Just
their
wipe it off the
house.
mailbox or something.
Yeah,
Get right up there,
something.
shovel it
Mailboxes are
out.
buried,
I know, it does make a difference.
yeah,
It does.
especially for those nighttime
You talked about the 29th, do you, way back in the day, I guess you, us, whoever,
Yeah.
would call a bunch of people in and keep them there?
We did, well, we did that night.
That's what-
Because it wasn't, we waited till our first call. Well, you can talk to me about that one if you want. But, we've been pretty fortunate, a lot of it's power lines. And for some reason, Marquette Township, that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, everybody else, I think Chocolate had 45 calls that night. But, well, you saw, I don't know if anybody's been up M28, what happened out there. What a mess. You couldn't see, I mean, you just couldn't see that night.
We didn't even lose power in our neighborhood.
Very,
For the
very
whole-
few.
The whole 4
Very
days
few.
or whatever.
But our first call was up 550, and you couldn't see from here to the wall, you know. And we took an engine up there because power lines on fires, you know, on a house. And you can't even get there.
No.
I mean, it was bad. But, yeah, our ambulance was a little bit busy, but we were it for this end, you know.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
All your crew.
Oh, yeah, everybody does, yeah. Everybody helps each other out. It's been a real good relationship. But yeah, no, once we got there, everybody stayed. If they wanted to go home and, you know, they just had to, you know, they'd be right back, to plow a little bit or get out and dig out, because nobody could get back in their driveways if they got out that night. You know,
Were you standing to pick up ahead of them, the ambulance?
no, we were okay. We had four-wheel drive. They even 41, because they weren't plowing that night. We took the pickup out on 550 with an engine following. That night in the city, the ambulance did pretty well. It is new tires, four-wheel drive. You know, it worked pretty well. We weren't going up some long driveways or anything like that, but where we had to go, it worked well. Yeah. Yeah. City and chocolate. Unfortunate. But, yeah. But then everybody stayed. Everybody was pretty much there all night.
Yeah.
Just because of calls. As soon as you get done, we pretty much get another one. You know, I left it up to them if they had to get home or wanted to get home for a little bit. But, yeah, years ago, we used to put everybody on call and let's sit there. But a lot of people, not knowing, I'm not sure when they canceled everything, at what time, but people did have to go to work too. Some people did. So, yeah, lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
back up.
Thank you, sir, yeah. Okay, we have Lenny.
No written report.
Lenny is sick and he was just coming off vacation, which might be why he's sick. Came back from somewhere warm. But I will say his crew's been busy, clearing fire hydrants, diagnosing generators that didn't run when the power went out. And I'm not even talking about the big power outage that hit everywhere else. It was earlier this week or late last week. It went out for maybe an hour or half hour or so in the morning here, and our generator didn't turn on. And the guys were able to figure that out fairly quickly. So now they're kind of keeping an eye on it, keeping a path snow blowed back to it. So they're keeping busy and very useful to me especially. We always say when Lenny takes a vacation, that's when something happens. If that's the worst that happened this time, I'll take it.
It's funny, because I just asked him about that too, like, what day does it generate? Because ours goes on Thursdays.
We're trying to figure that out. We don't know
He
exactly.
said Monday.
He did say Monday,
Uh-huh.
but I think it runs at like 6 in the morning, so
Oh,
it's early when nobody's usually here.
so you don't know.
And you have to stand right next to that window to hear it running. It's pretty quiet, which is nice.
They were by on my street again doing the hydrants. I try to keep mine when I'm home cleaned out, but
Thank you. It's good to have people that understand the value of those hydrants when you need them.
So it is okay for people to, if they have it near their property, to clean it out?
absolutely.
Okay.
The guys appreciate it, absolutely. It's one less that they have to worry about.
It's highly encouraged, I would have to say.
Yes.
Mhm.
Adopt a hydrant.
Yeah.
Good.
Planning has written to Jason. I had emailed it to the board yesterday.
Yeah.
he wasn't gonna make it tonight.
It was just pretty much, they had canceled their last meeting because of the storm. So January 28th will be their first meeting. It's organizational, and they'll discuss the master plan update, completion schedule, and their annual report, and review the department's permit totals. The rec committee is also canceled because they ended up having not a quorum. They want to talk about pickleball issues, the master plan, rec goals and objectives, meeting dates, CIP, and the Koski Woods Trail concept plan. The master plan is near completion with the final draft to tentatively be presented to the planning commission for distribution consideration in late January. They're hoping for an April 2026 adoption. Planner Powers has begun administering incoming 2026 Marquette Township business license applications. And he and Jason have emphasized continuing education opportunities to stay apprised of planning and zoning trends and legislative updates. And they've responded to numerous general planning and zoning related inquiries. So a little bit of everything. Now, attorney reports next.
Well, mine is a little shorter than sometimes. I reviewed the Fishbeck contract that Lenny sent over a couple weeks ago. The Renovari closing that we were waiting for a year, all of a sudden was a rush. But we got through that and received our funds, and the deed has been sent over for recording. The Register of Deeds is a little bit behind. I don't think we've gotten that back from the Register of Deeds yet, but it was sent over about a week to 10 days ago. I reviewed the ALS intercept agreement that has also been in the works for about 2 years. Marquette General has wanted to update the charges for the ALS services, and we were wrangling over primarily how Medicaid runs are billed. And they finally assented to what we requested, which was really the status quo. We were satisfied with how it was being billed all along, and what that is because Medicaid pays pennies on the dollar, Marquette General and Marquette Township split that 50-50. Because otherwise, what was being proposed was a $423 charge or something to that effect. And if that was paid first, we would end up owing them on our situations where the ambulance, where the ALS services met with the BLS services and so forth. So we worked it out for pretty much the status quo, and I think you have that later on your agenda. There are minimal changes, and after close to 2 years of wrangling, it's satisfactory. I had a question on the garbage carrier performance bond that I'm still waiting for a little bit more information on to fully evaluate that and give you some input on. And then within the last couple days, there's been a Renovari and Wildflower proposal regarding infrastructure funding, primarily water and sewer lines, and I issued some preliminary comments on that late yesterday. And I'm probably overlooking something or another, but that's what came to mind when I was jotting some notes down of what's crossed my desk in the last month.
Okay, any questions for Roger? Okay, thank you, sir. Community linkage. You want to start? You have a report from the Business Association.
So they're looking for members, and so any business in the township. Definitely worth looking into. One of the big things that got brought up, the benefits of being a member of the Business Association, is getting updated on information on what's going on, and that kind access road by the new development behind Goodwill. Jim Borowski had a few things to say about that, but it tied back into community just needs to be proactive and stay informed, and as a business, being part of the association is a good way to do it. And then the roundabout, adopting the roundabout, I guess that's on for the DDA to work with them.
Thanks for that. Okay, yeah, we had the DDA meeting last week. John can fill you in on that. I mentioned the house numbers for the fire department and public service too. Emergency services. The county meeting last night was kind of interesting. They had a half a dozen people speak. I think all of them were pilots. The county, maybe 2 months ago, decided to cancel a contract with the FBOs, which are fixed base operators. And those are the people that handle the private machinations of an airport, whether it's de-icing or fueling or repairs or maintenance, storage, where they put the plane and everything. And apparently the county decided they were gonna take that on themselves. So I don't know if the one gentleman that got up said that they decided they were going to pursue a lawsuit with the county. So I don't know if that was him. He didn't say who. He just said they. So maybe the FBO group got together. I'm not real sure. So county's gonna have that to deal with. They bought a couple more vehicles and some other de-icing contracts, basic stuff. I did fill them in on my solid waste, or my materials management committee meeting, the 15th in Escanaba. They did agree to a 1 o'clock meeting from now on instead of 3, which I had asked for because for us driving back, especially in the wintertime, driving back late after a 3 o'clock meeting is kind of hard. So they did agree to that, but then they also asked me if I'd chair the committee for the next year. So I think I put my foot in it. So I said yes. You might remember, I'm thinking a lot of the public will remember, that I had asked about folks filling out the survey that the municipal, or the materials management committee sent out. The committees expected 170,000 possible responses and received 200. The majority of which, and he didn't tell me how many, were Marquette Township out of 6 counties. So I was pretty happy to share that with the Board of Commissioners, as I am to share with you. I appreciate our public participating. They needed 1,200 responses to have it qualify for a viable number. So 200 isn't enough, but they thanked me for my efforts. Dickinson County didn't respond at all, nobody there. I think that's it. The next thing we're gonna talk about shortly. So that was solid, or keep saying solid waste. Solid waste was just now. They switched over to Teams from Zoom, and I could hear better, but it was still garbled on some of the microphones, especially at the podium. They got their audit. They switched to a new company. The gentleman might have been, he had some kind of foreign accent, so it was kind of hard to follow what he was saying. But apparently the company they're using now is a landfill audit firm, where they didn't have that before. And their financials are in much better position. So I couldn't hear real well what he was saying. It sounds like all the demerits that they had last year are put 2 or 3 up on McClellan. They've done 2, I think they've done one in Ely Township and are completing another one. And another one in Chocolate Township, I think is done. The Michigan Municipal League, the MML, which is the city version of our MTA, is trying to put an act together called My Home that helps everybody from the individual to the top-notch developer, builder to get grant funds, low interest loans, subsidies, help with refurbishing old homes up to $50,000. They have this huge act that they put together. So I did ask Christopher from the LSCP to give me some kind of a one-page synopsis. This is the second meeting we've had with them. So it's a couple hours worth of information, way too much, but it's not done yet. So the reason I bring it up is because they're looking for support. They actually had a QR code up on the screen that they were hoping the folks in the audience, in this group, Housing Now, would reply and say, yes, this is a good idea, we support it. So I asked Christopher to give me something that I could bring to you to see if you're interested in doing that. If you want to support that at some point. But I couldn't possibly have given you all the information tonight. You'd have to read it. That's all I have on that stuff. Anything you're hearing from the public? No phone calls?
We're sick of the snow.
Yeah, sure. We can't do that though. We don't get paid enough for that. All right, let's talk about the fire department, so Dan can get home. Consider fire department advanced life support paramedic intercept agreement amendment. Do you want to give us some?
Not really, I mean, like Attorney Zappa said,
Pretty much did.
it's basically the same agreement that we had beginning in 2017, I'm guessing. But we did, Attorney Zappa said, hey, Medicaid's not gonna work because it would cost us money to transport. And we responded, we were pretty quick responding. Every time they responded to us, attorney and we responded right back. And they would take 6 months to respond and change a little something. And then, I remember one, I don't even know where it is anymore. I didn't know where we were at even. And Roger goes, oh, I think it's on my desk somewhere. But, yeah, and then finally, I guess it's been over 2 years. It was basically, the Medicaid was the big issue. They wanted their fee. And we said, we'll split it, like we had in the past.
Okay,
I'll move to accept the fire department advanced life-saving support paramedic intercept agreement amendment and authorize the fire chief and the supervisor to sign.
questions for Dan? Comments? Thanks for being patient.
Yeah, them.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Here you go, Dan.
Okay, super.
We don't want to wait another 2 years.
Yeah, no, yeah.
You can sign
It's
it.
on now.
You can sign it and have the supervisor sign it, and we'll send it off to him.
Okay, the next one is to consider establishing an ad hoc fire department sustainability committee. You want to talk about that?
You don't have to agree to the name of the committee. I had to call it something. And I think sustainability is the current concern. Current level of service is exceeding the hours that our mostly paid on-call staff can handle. I shouldn't say it that way. They're handling it. But I think we're taking years off of their lives. They're getting burned out. Our full-time staff is 3 people. We currently have 8 hours a day that we have no coverage on, at least Monday through Friday. It's really the overnight hours that are the most challenging, right?
Correct, yeah, the mid to 11 o'clock to 6, well, 11 o'clock to 8 AM are tough hours. And our response time is increasing all the time because we don't have the Trowbridge Park people anymore. We're getting farther, our recruits and people that do apply are getting farther and farther away. Whereas before, if you didn't live in Trowbridge Park, we wouldn't even look at your application. Then it went to McClellan Street, then it went to, Lincoln Street. Now we're into the city pretty good. So our response time has really been affected by people leaving, and moving too. A lot of people moving out of the area.
And like you said, people have jobs too.
And they do, it does, they're getting up at, 2:30. And you don't mind it for the serious calls, it's the ones, and the fire departments are a catch-all, and everybody will tell you, they're calling us for everything today. Their faucet, I'm exaggerating, but not by much, their faucet leaks, well, they call 911, 911 isn't who to call it, call the fire department. I'm exaggerating, but not by much. So we're a catch-all for everything, and after you go so many times, and you gotta get up and go to work in the morning. But yeah, I think it's something we've talked about for, many years. It's been on the agenda for many years. I know it was brought up this past budget session again, and I think it's an eye-opener, and maybe I haven't, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, maybe I haven't squeaked the wheel enough, if you will. So I think it needs to be discussed, and you need to see where we're at. And I think this needs to be done, not publicly to begin with, just a few people, just to, it will get all discussed publicly, but eventually just to say, hey, this is where we're at. When we were running 400 calls a year, not a problem. Well, it was, but it wasn't. But we're at the same staffing level, and our people are farther and farther away, and we're running 700 calls a year. So things have changed.
And we're growing.
Yeah, and also people don't realize, Dan, is I know some folks that work for the hospital. They could be at K.I. Sawyer, they could be in Ishpeming or Nagani, and without our service here,
Right.
our residents might have to wait 45 minutes to an hour
That is a big part of it.
before they'd even get someone there. And, that's what I try to tell folks, if for some reason we can't staff it and the ambulance would go away, that's what you're looking at.
And that's exactly why we got the ambulance in the
That was
first
originally
place.
why, yeah.
So we can take care of our
It
people.
just, right. Just something that needs to be looked at, and soon.
I think the key is we need to provide them some resources to help ultimately make the final decisions. They're already busy enough putting this all on Dan's shoulders to come back with some proposals. It's pretty time consuming. I think between Kim, myself, Michelle, Dan, the assistant chief, captain or lieutenant? Captain Sharp, if we're all working on various things, we can probably get responses back to a committee pretty quick to make some decisions. Recommendations back to the full board. No matter what happens, there is going to be a cost that is currently not paid for. So going in with that reality, what can we come up with that's the most affordable, least impactful to the people that have to pay for it ultimately? So we need a committee to start hashing out these details. And I'll say, this time of year is pretty tough for Kim because she's got year-end closeout and all kinds of fun things that, I don't know, shuffling beans, I guess. It's a good time for me. It's a little bit slower. We can't wait anymore. We have to get moving on it. And I would say we need to get a committee formed and start scheduling regular meetings.
Like once a week, is what you're thinking, or?
I don't know that once a week is realistic for staff
Okay,
to prepare, especially in the beginning, but probably every 2 weeks. And then as, it's going to be a heavy lift. But we can't let it go on for months without making progress.
Even if we just had that initial, and then we can just, then we see, well, how much work do we really have here? And then I think we can say, hey, this is gonna take a while. I don't wanna say every 2 weeks, then say, well, that's too quick, or we don't need it yet, or maybe we do.
I
Maybe
think
we should get
that
this
should be
rolling.
discussed by the committee once it's
The
established.
first, I'm with you on that, I think. 'Cause I don't know, how long it's gonna take.
Yeah, how formal do you want it to be? Do you want to have bylaws?
I don't know if you need to have that right away, just you gotta get it going,
Just needs to be.
It's an ad hoc committee,
yeah.
so it's advisory in nature only. And
they
as
have-
long as there's not a quorum of the township board on the committee, you don't have to schedule it during times when it's convenient for the public. They don't have to be public meetings.
And they have a charge to look at this, so it's,
Yep.
they're not gonna get out of there. So who should be on the committee? The manager, fire chief, assistant chief, HR
I'll let
assistant?
the board decide that. I think there needs to be a committee and resources assigned to the committee.
okay. I'm thinking 3 board members. I'm part of any committee that exists, that's the supervisor. So I'd like to be part of that. 2 more. Carl. Linda's already said she didn't want to be involved.
Not me, I got a busy here.
Okay,
It all depends on time commitment, when meetings are, so.
yeah, that's why I asked what you were thinking.
I'd be happy to be on it. My only concern is not being able to make several meetings.
Well, make the ones you can then, I mean, they can try to work around your schedule, Andrew, if you got some issues there.
During the day's best for you anyway, right?
Yeah, usually.
Keep in mind the paid on-call resources both work full-time jobs elsewhere.
So you're thinking some of them might be nights or weekends?
We're gonna have to find a proper balance for sure.
Okay. So maybe that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
We are not alone, if you read your last MTA magazine.
Yes, glad John pointed that out.
Yeah, there's lots of townships dealing with this.
Well, we've been reading about this for many years, and we've known this is coming. We've been fortunate so far. And it's not due to a lack of commitment or people caring, it's they are working 2 jobs, They do things with their families, times have changed too. There is commitment there, but people are busier today. It's because financially, then they're struggling too. They're working a couple of jobs. Years ago, only one worked. Not that many years ago either, Today, I think it's a 2-income family. And then they're moving away too, because they're getting such good money for their houses in the area. They're moving out a little bit farther, for less expensive. So, yeah, we've been fortunate, we've carried out as long as we have, to be honest with you. Yeah,
So
and it is a big problem
I'm
everywhere.
not trying to push you, but
If someone else wants it, then that would be good. If no one else does, then I'll
okay.
see what I can do.
John?
We're not that bad. We'll even bring donuts once in a while.
Fritters.
We'll get fritters, yeah. If the meetings are on Fridays, we'll get fritters.
Do we need a motion?
Yes, well, I'll make a motion to establish the ad hoc committee for the fire department for sustainability. And the board members assigned to it will be the supervisor, and 2 trustees, and I'll list them in the motion.
Support? Is that okay? Questions? Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. So you guys can just tell us when you want all of us to get together, at least for the initial meeting, correct?
That would probably be good. Yeah, I agree that would be good, just for that initial, if we just give just a basic understanding and where we think we might want to go. And then you can say, whoa, then take it back and, figure it out, and then maybe get back like that time in 2 weeks. And okay, this is what we need to focus on and go from there.
Okay,
But,
let us know.
would you like to, I guess we can arrange something this week, or since we're arranging time this week for what's good for us.
We'll have to reach out to everybody to make sure we can coordinate the first meeting, and then once the meeting is held, schedule a consistent date, whether it's bi-weekly or monthly.
Okay. Okay. Let us know. Thanks. Okay. Thanks, Dan.
Have a good night.
You too. Consider a work session to discuss build-out.
Nope,
funding.
stop, you missed the one. ZBA recommendation.
On this one?
Consider ZBA recommendation by Supervisor Durant.
Oh.
That's item E on
I got it as next on mine.
Okay. We can, because that way, if all folks can leave, you can.
Yeah, I have it on mine. Oh, I guess on the other agenda, for some reason on mine it's different, but whatever, I guess we can do that.
Well, yeah, let's do that. Let's
Or actually,
get him in there, and that way. if we
Yeah, that's
talk
fine.
kind of long on the next 2. He won't have to wait if you don't want to. Anyway, Ralph Olson is in the audience. He approached us about the position for the zoning board of appeals. It's a 3-year commitment. I'm thinking let me look at the paperwork. I think this was a 1-year completing the term, if I'm not mistaken. No, the 28th, 3 years, okay. The other position was 1 year. And you want to come up and introduce yourself? And I don't know if the board will have any questions.
I'm Ralph Olson, it's nice to meet you, and I appreciate what you do and how you do it. Come to a couple of meetings and always been impressed by how you guys handle your business and us sitting out there. And I guess I'm interested in serving the township based on my own experience in township government. I used to live in Sunell, Chatham, in Nutley County. I was a township trustee for 8 years, and then the township supervisor for 10. And we had our joys and concerns. That was a very interesting and very worthwhile place to live, but we brought in zoning and got some reaction to that. We brought in land division, got some reaction to that. So I appreciate what you folks are doing and what it takes to do that. I'm going to be retired in the next year, and I'm just interested in helping out. I liked township government a lot. I like public service a lot. And incidentally, I'm also a clinical psychologist, so I'm kind of used to folks that have strong feelings about stuff. And that might or might not be useful when somebody's determined to get zoning decided their way. So that's what I can share with you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. So my recommendation is to have Ralph fill that seat, the zoning board of appeals, for a 3-year term ending December 31st of 2028.
I'll support your motion.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you and welcome. I'm working, I've had 2 other ZBA members ask about training, and then when Ralph approached me, that's 3. And so I got hold of MTA and trying to figure that out. They have a 3-hour, 3 module session, it's called, I think. So maybe we can work something out here that they all come, or we have to ask for special permission to get Zoom connections or webinar connections with our membership. So we'll figure that out, but that way that group will get some training. So I'm kind of anxious about that. So thanks, appreciate you being here. Okay, now we can go up to UP funding, build UP funding. This is John.
Yeah, I sent a link to the website for everybody to peruse, just to get an idea of what the funding is. This is not a new concept, but it's certainly what's new these days. If it's 5 years old, it's still new, right? So maybe it is new. Build UP is a spin-off of Invest UP. They received $15 million in state funding to support home building in the UP. We were originally approached about this regarding the Longyear project, and Longyear chose not to pursue it. It's also been brought to our attention by the Renovare Group. So I think it's time that we learn about the funding mechanism, what the pros and cons are, and determine whether or not the township wants to participate in that relatively new tool in the toolbox for developers, specifically for housing. And I'm hopeful that we'll be able to get Steve Arwood at least to zoom in for this. He is the one that's managing that program for Invest UP. I don't know if any of you recall him, but he was here actually representing Longyear early on in their plan process. He's a consultant. So whether it's him or Andrew, who is an Invest UP employee, not Build UP, I believe, one of them would have to come and explain to us what it is. And she thinks that Steve is the right person. If we can get him scheduled, that would be great. I've got an email into him. I know he's a busy guy. I'm waiting to hear back from him. But the idea would be if the township's going to support this funding, it should move relatively quickly. If Build UP actually has any funds they can commit to the Renovare Heritage Trails project.
I'd be interested in learning more about it, listening to him.
Do we want to have any discussion about the ramifications of this bond idea before we talk about a work session to see what they want?
It's totally up to you. I don't know that we have it fully vetted yet. Are there concerns? Yes. There's 3 options by which somebody can get these funds. One of them is a local municipality being the applicant. The other 2 are developer-based. There has not been a discussion with Steve Arwood yet about what option it would have to be. But I do know that the program is hoping that more municipalities will get involved in it. Whether or not it's a good idea for this community or this project, I guess without having the work session, I don't know that we're in a position to say yes or no.
So you said that you would like to get Steve to be a presenter. Is Mitch kind of orchestrating the work session, or would you, or trying to figure out how we can incorporate all this, get the bond information? Because if it's just from the Build UP side, that's not enough. If it's just Mitch, that's not enough, you know?
How about you not take action, and when I hear from Steve on his availability, we try to schedule a date, but it's gonna have to be fairly quickly. Because there should be action to consider in 2 weeks.
Well, then it'd be nice if Roger could be there too, if we're gonna be talking about funding and bonding, and we've got a city project that we're bonding for multi-million. We need all the information, it's not just what Mitch wants. In my mind, we've gotta get all angles, what's gonna cost us, what's the liability, how long, lots to consider. I've got foot surgery on the 28th, so if you want to try to do 26th or 27th, if he's available then, or that's.
He doesn't have to be here, he can
Zoom in.
attend virtually.
Sure.
If the board can make itself available for those dates and he says he's available, that's probably what we should consider trying to do.
I am not available at all at any time on the 26th, but I'm pretty much wide open on the 27th. I've got a facilitated mediation that could potentially last 12 hours that day.
Anything in the afternoon's good that day for me, the 27th.
How does that look for you guys?
27th is
Or we
open.
try to get Steve, does that work?
My calendar's
You
not,
here?
every truck, not every captain get back,
Okay.
so it gets really hot, I'm gonna be working outside.
The 27th is next Tuesday then, yeah.
Yeah, like, are you working then?
I'm on
Three?
nights, so anything after 1's fine.
Okay,
So I get some sleep.
2
2 o'clock, does that work?
2's
Okay.
fine.
If you wanna try that,
It would be good to mention, need that perspective.
yeah, yeah, not just one side. I'll have the legal side, the special side, Mitch, and UP. That sound good?
We'll make a motion, then we schedule a work session at, on the 27th at 2 PM for the purpose of gathering information for Invest UP funding,
Build UP.
Build UP funding.
Second.
Okay, any more questions?
If we have to cancel it, it's easier to cancel it than schedule, so.
I might be coherent on the 29th if Friday works better. I won't try to do anything on the 28th. Let's see, 28th, 29th, that'd have to be the 30th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. One more. Okay. Friday, right before the packet was due, I got an email from Mike Standard, who's the director of the Solid Waste Authority, asking if we consider, he actually asked Gary from Ishpeming Township, Darlene from Sands Township, and me, if we consider writing a letter of support for the Solid Waste Authority to get a haul truck, is the way he described it, and multiple dumpsters. So I said, well, that's not a decision I make on my own, I bring it to the board, we can do it Wednesday, what's your deadline? And he said, Thursday. So I said, all right, I'll put together a letter, and if they want to change it or approve it or refuse it, I will let you know. So I'm trying to get to sleep last night, and I'm thinking, this a good idea? You've got the draft letter, you can see what I put together, but, are they competing with haulers by doing this? Is this gonna increase tipping fees? I haven't talked to him about this. This is literally last night I'm thinking of this, so I thought, if I'm gonna bring this to you, I wanna make sure my head's straight. I'm making this recommendation, I wanna make sure I'm doing it right. And even if I disagree with it and you wanna do it, that's fine too. I'm not saying not to, but I'm concerned about them going off topic. You know, they have a job, they have responsibility to the authority, and now they wanna go and pick up trash. So what does that involve with their staff and their shifts? We just hired some people for the waste management side, the water side of the authority, the landfill. Would they have to, and I don't know, I can find out by asking Mike, but because the deadline's tomorrow, this is running through my head today. Kinda looking for some help. I'm not sure how I feel about this now. And whether they have support from us or not, they still may get the grant and still may move forward, but I don't know if I want us to put our name on this if it's not something we feel good about, just because I'm bringing it to you, you know what I mean?
How many other townships are involved right now in recycling?
Funny you should ask, I'm pretty sure I brought that. I thought I sent to you, email, maybe I didn't, maybe I emailed it to somebody else. Have you seen this? Did I send it to you? Email it? Randy, have you seen this? I don't know.
No.
Okay, I've sent it to a few people. This is the 24 versus 25 recycling rates from the landfill, so it's year to year. Single stream recycling in Marquette Township is at 12.35% for 2024. In 2025, it's 12.16%, so we dropped a little bit. But all of the townships are involved, okay, at different degrees. It's on my desk. Some of Ishpeming City, it's either Ishpeming or Negani, I think actually it's both, do not have curbside recycling pickup because they don't have carts. Some of them have the containers, those like the little blue ones, the small ones or the flat ones. So, part of this materials management committee, my recommendation to them and to the county commission last night is that we use some of the money the state gave this planning committee toward buying carts for, and I think I mentioned this in a previous meeting, for those communities that don't have curbside pickup, because that's the mandate from the state anyway, by 2027 or 8. The state's saying that anybody who has curbside pickup for trash has to have curbside recycling. Okay, so Ishpeming and Negani don't have it yet. The West End, according to Jim Nankervis, the supervisor in Ishpeming Township, it's kind of hit and miss. Some of the smaller communities, they burn a lot of their trash. They don't have curbside pickup. You know, Powell Township, they have a transfer station. Sands Township does, and they do some pickup. Forsyth Township has a transfer station, so that means no curbside. So they're not gonna be required by the state to get rid of the transfer stations. They just have to make sure that those stations accommodate recycling. So the state gave our central UP $110,000, I think, the first year. some of it went to pay QPAD to organize all this, to help put this plan together that will be coming out probably in June, that we're working on. And then we get another 80,000 or something this year. So we have money to buy some carts, we collectively. That increases the product is what, that's what the Solid Waste Authority wants, is product. Because that's how they make their money. First of all, on cardboard, secondly, on plastic. Those are the two big money. And like I mentioned to you last meeting, they're bringing in $1 million this year, 1.128 million in recycling, but 73% of it's payroll. So it's not like, and I mention that because it's not like they're not making money, they're not getting a good income. It's just that their expenses are pretty high, and that's just payroll. So all this is running through my head last night, trying to figure out whether I even support my recommendation.
Well, it makes sense that if you're able to start getting more product from large apartment complexes that don't have recycling carts at them. Question being, will the already in contract carriers start picking those up? If we're able to get additional carts to these apartment, because they're already picking up trash from the large dumpsters, so if there's another dumpster there, for instance, would they be picking them up? Or, I don't know how often the truck would be used, but we certainly could use more dumpsters for recycling. So that being said, I'll support it. I'll make the motion to support it, and we'll just see where it goes, and who knows for sure what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not up to us.
They may not even get the grant, so let's just apply for it and see what happens.
Support.
Okay, motion and support. Comments? Questions? It is, the apartment complexes is one of the things I did mention to Josh Wales, who's the supervisor of the recycling arm of the landfill. And, because he said, yeah, I went to Northern, I went to the hospital. I said, but there's more than that. There's apartment complexes and offices and gas stations and attorneys' offices and schools and, there's a lot more. So he must have picked up on the whole, that's a lot of product versus, the attorney's office or something. He said, okay, well, maybe we can do that. Okay. The letter's okay, or do you want to change it?
It's fine.
Anything?
That's good.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thanks. Appreciate you being the sounding board there. Public comment? Anything else you want to add? Thank you. Any announcements from anybody?
The only thing I have is it looks like the school district's again gonna go for a May election for their bond, so I'll stay tuned for when we get the information on that, but as of now, I've been warned to have an election in May, so May, the first Monday in May.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo, I think.
Yeah, it's the first Monday after the first Tuesday after the first Monday, that's what it is. So it's first Tuesday.
Okay.
And there will be no early voting for that election. It's only a 1 day. Early voting is only for federal and state elections. So but absentees, will send out our absentees for that one, but no early voting for the May one.
Nothing else? No announcements? Mr. Manager, anything you want to share?
One update. The board had asked that we reach out to Representative Bonack regarding our concerns with the pathway on Venture Drive as a result of the realignment of the road and the development of the new Jacob Eddy Veterans Home. You may have seen a article or a news report on TV6 a couple weeks ago. I'm not real thrilled with that one. One comment after I refused to give him an interview afterwards saying I'm not ready to talk about it because I haven't met with them yet. I met with them today. I thought it was a good meeting. They sent me some clarifications on their site plan, and I wouldn't say it's perfect, but their proposed reroute of the safe routes to school across their property would be their burden to bear. We wouldn't have to touch it. And it is wider than a 5-foot sidewalk. It's a 6-foot pathway to a 6-foot sidewalk along the edge of their parking lot, and then an 8-foot pathway on the west side going back down to Old Wright Street, closer to the school crossing. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but considering what they had to fit into their site, I think despite the communication breakdown, and I'll take as much responsibility as anyone, I think what they're doing is probably a reduction of future responsibility for the township. It meets their needs. Safe routes to school and the school are acceptable of it. The biggest thing I think is bicycles. And if you're an adult, I would probably use the road from the roundabout heading east, or from Old Wright Street heading, no, opposite. From the roundabout heading west, or from Wright Street heading east towards the roundabout. Probably being on the road is best, otherwise you're getting yourself into traffic on their property, or a 6-foot sidewalk that you could be sharing with veterans in wheelchairs or pedestrians, that kind of thing. Kids on bikes, I don't think they have much of a concern about it, especially that age. So if the board is okay with that, you would have action to take on waiving your right of first priority on that right of way. That's how this whole thing came back to the surface. And if you are, we can put it on the next agenda.
Sounds reasonable to me, John.
Sounds good.
I think there's gonna be some objection from members of the public because we had a 10-foot path all the way down there before. It is different, but they have pledged they want to remain good neighbors, and I know that that was your intent as well. It's change.
Well, the end of the day, they still have a pathway going to where they need to go, so. So I mean, it's gonna be a little narrower, but if that's the best we can do, I guess that's the best we can do.
Strategically, our non-motorized master plan is impacted a little bit there. And it's specifically where the 10-foot path goes down to a 6-foot wide sidewalk. 8-foot wide path on the west end, I think, is probably fine. It's kind of twisting and going down fairly significantly in gradient, so it's probably better to keep it narrower just to keep speeds lower. I'm not opposed to actually going across their property and maybe meeting some of their residents and thanking them for their service too, but that's just me.
That sounds like put it on the next agenda and then we'll talk about it more there.
Okay.
Anything else, John?
That's enough for tonight.
Any questions for John? Okay, thanks. Review our motions.
Yeah, the first motion was consent agenda as presented was approved. The second motion was the regular agenda as approved. Third motion was to approve the advanced life-saving support paramedic intercept agreement amendment. That was approved. Fourth motion was to establish the ad hoc fire department sustainability committee. and that was approved with Supervisor Durant and trustees Kidda and Leighton on there. Fifth motion was to approve Ralph Olson as the ZBA appointee, so thank you. That was approved. Sixth motion was to approve, or schedule a work session for Tuesday the 27th at 2 p.m. to discuss the Build UP funding, and that was approved. And the seventh motion was to approve the letter from Supervisor Durant for the grant funding for the Marquette County Solid Waste Authority, and that was approved.
So the vet pathway will be on the next agenda.
Do we also have the school coming to talk about their bond proposal? Oh, that's in February.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yep, that's okay.
Well, February is the next meeting, but the
That's
second
right, yeah.
meeting,
Yeah, I think
was the
it's
second meeting, February.
We'll confirm that,
I'll check.
but superintendent will be here one of the meetings in February to talk about that bond proposal.
Yeah, February 4th is our next meeting, so you might be right. I've got it in my office. Linda, I didn't know if you wanted to speak. I kind of skipped over you during public comment. I didn't want to forget you. Okay, thanks. Any follow-up, anything? Any comments? The Cheshire cat down at the end. No other comments?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.